right, a beautiful afternoon. You're welcome to your favorite studio for Buzz. I am Miss Blossom Moy, and of course, it's a Wednesday, and we have our very favorite guest on Wednesday with us. We'll be having Shirley will join us pretty soon. But right here in the studio, we already have Nurin Ademiro, of course, is the senior journalist and senior lecturer. I did not lure the journalist this time around. This is our show.
Well, good afternoon and good afternoon to all our viewers. I think the environment now is very calm everywhere. You know, when you have Ramadan season, double season, where Ramadan is going on one part and Lent is going on the one part at least. This is the time to offer prayers to Almighty God because everything will come and we just hope that everybody, both the ruler and the ruled, will use this period to really think deeply and see how we can serve ourselves so we can be pushing on. It's not about giving people money now, giving people food now. It is not all about it. It's not about now you are feeling concerned about the people. That is not, or paying for call to prayer, sending people to Hajj. It is not what God really wants. God wants succor to the poor, and that is what our ruler should look at this particular period.
Okay, so well, like I said, it's an amazing period. Like you said, there's Lent and there's Ramadan, and then you corrected me once. I was already saying, I hope we're going to eat around this period. This is not the period for Ramoka. Anyways, welcome to the show, and our viewers joining us. You can be part of the program today by making a call to the studio line that will be displayed below your screen TV. And of course, if you're calling in or you're sending a text message, make sure you indicate your name and where you're calling from. Then if you're sending a text message also, make sure you indicate your name and where the text message is coming from. You're welcome again. And yes, to watch The Buzz live, you can just download Galaxy app on Google Play Store and Apple Play Store to watch that program, this program live, and every other program that is live on Galaxy TV. So let's get cracking. Let's start talking. The first thing we'll be talking about is Soyinka. I'm picking this specifically. Soyinka, of course, we're talking about the emergency state rule in Rivers State, and we had Soyinka and Goodluck Jonathan react to that. So I'm just going to read a briefly. It's a long read, but I'll pick just a few. Now, the former president Goodluck Jonathan and Nobel laureate Wale Soyinka has spoken against the suspension of elected officers in Rivers State. Jonathan described the development as capable of bringing Nigeria into disrepute. Soyinka said it was against the spirit of federalism. Anyway, however, many stakeholders, including governors elected under the People Democratic Party, the Nigerian Bar Association, the Nigerian Labour Congress, a senior advocates of Nigeria, and civil society organizations have spoken against the emergency rule. And now, speaking at the Husky Satumari Foundation colloquium in Abuja, Jonathan condemned the suspension of the democratic rule in Rivers State, saying that he was disappointed that elected officers were removed. He maintained that the image and investment opportunity of the country heavily depended on the actions of the executive, legislature, and judiciary. He also blamed the three arms of government for their roles in the Rivers crisis, accusing them of engaging in abuse of power. He noted that though it was not the norm for former presidents to comment on some issues so as not to heat up the polity, his comment was necessitated by persistent calls from Nigerians for him to speak on the event in Rivers State. Okay, on Soyinka's part, he said the declaration was against the spirit of federalism, as said, and he spoke to an international news outlet, maintaining the declaration of a state of emergency in the manner with which was carried out betrayed federalism. He said the 1999 constitution goes too much power to the president, saying there was a need for a national discussion on this matter, stating that Nigeria must hold a national conference to change the country's foundation, adding that the federal spirit of association is a cardinal principle, and for that reason, some of us have been called again and again for a national conference to really accord ourselves an authentic people's constitution. Right now, in principle, this action is just imperative. Okay, went on and on and on. And of course, we know that the senior special assistant to the president on media and publicity, Temitope Ajayi, said that while Soyinka and Jonathan were respected statements, their opinions were personal. Well, that's quite a long read. I just had to, shorten it. But this points are something we'll ask to deliberate on, but our guest is in. So let's get our guest seated. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back to, of course, start talking about Soyinka and Jonathan's reaction to the state of emergency in Rivers State. We'll be right back. Stay with us. All right, you're welcome back. Still watching the Buzz, your favorite social media program. And of course, we have a second guest seated. Good afternoon. Welcome to the show. It's fine. But can you tell us what happened?
I can't like this one. Everybody would have thought, but
I love that.
I left the opposite.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you so much for coming in. It's amazing. Usually every time people like there's the traffic. So yes, we have one true person. Me, what did I do? Okay, all right. You're welcome to the show, sir. And please, Ima, can you delete the number to call and the number for the text? Thank you very much. Okay, so we're supposed to we have a reaction to Soyinka's statement, reactions, and Jonathan's reaction to the state of emergency in Rivers State. So I'll start with you first.
Well, before my reaction, Lagos State government should please. Allen Junction has become a mess. The traffic lights are not working. One is going to be directing you to go, one is going to housing you to stop. And this is always, the occurrence is always towards every festive period. If it is not December, it's going to be, it's not all right. When you have a junction that is leading to the governor's office, or the parastatal's office, the secretariat, I don't know if they have to reconfigure that particular traffic light at Allen Junction. I think they have to do. Those people going to Aromire, we ask them to stop. You ask those people going to, you could have, if you don't have some certain officers there, I'm telling you, terrible accident will be happening. But we just want to just tell our people to follow the law, but government needs to fix that traffic lights. There, those lights, one is going to be saying go, one will say law, even the one that was 2 minutes could go for 4 minutes, and it's going to be chaos. So I think we need to look into that. Then on the issue of, look, I have said it on several fora. Politicians know what they are doing. It's because they are putting politics into law. That is why all this kata suspension, declaration of even the National Assembly, the executive, the president, and his people, all of them, they know the law. Section 305 is very clear, but they are just putting politics into it. That is the thing. Even president himself knows that what is did is unconstitutional. National Assembly,
he said the Constitution
forget about meaning resides in man, not in wealth. Meaning resides in man, not in wealth. National Assembly knew that first vote they did for 2/3, they know it is illegal. They know it's unconstitutional. They know. And majority of the lawyers that are siding this, they also know. But because of their interest, and that is the thing. Everybody knows Section 305. You don't need to go to school to interpret it. It's listed there. There is no place where one elected officials can suspend another one. Court of Appeal has stated that. So if the Supreme Court have said that governor cannot remove local government, so it's the same constitution that will now allow president to remove governor or remove senators or assembly. They all know. The word of Soyinka, I thank God that Soyinka is coming up because every one of us is pushing. Is our Baba that he needs to, because we know what he said during the time of Buhari. And one thing that we know Yoruba for as Omoluabi, your truth must be constant. You don't say because somebody that is not from your tribe, is not from your state, when you condemn what that person has done, if another person or relative of yours does the same thing, you have to do what? You have to condemn it. And that is what Nobel laureate has already said. What he said was purely truth. It is unconstitutional. It is undemocratic. It is so. Then, former president Goodluck Jonathan, I think a lot of civil society groups, a lot of activists, some of them that have said something wrong about Jonathan during his own tenure, this is the opportunity for them to come out and come and apologize to the man. Because we know what some of them did during the time of this particular man. And we didn't know he was even a Democrat. We don't know. Because when he declared state of emergency, because of insecurity in Yobe and Co., he never touched the governor or any elected officials. So, because that is what is in the constitution. Well, you now have the reverse case now. And the man is saying is unconstitutional. Thank Jonathan also for saying the truth. Thank Olusegun Obasanjo for saying the truth. We are waiting for Absalam Abubakar. We are waiting for Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida to also speak out. Because what is important here is this. Truth is truth. Nobody is going to kill you. Say your mind. And the way the spokesperson on the online media say that is their opinion. It's not about their opinion alone. That is the word the law says. All the lawyers that have been saying what the president did was right. Tell us, where is it in the constitution? All of us, we know now. If you are looking for a job to be taking government cases, let us know. We'll know where you stand. In fact, I saw one on television yesterday. Senior advocate of Nigeria. And I just shake my head. And this is the kind of man, before they will get his hand, they will be activists. They will be this, they will be this. Even the case that does not concern them, they will be there. And I saw him on television. Like, I just shake my head. What I need is proof. Anything, and one thing that we need to know. What makes democracy is the rule of law. That's the rule, guiding principle that is guiding everybody. Immediately we will go away from it. We are not practicing democracy alone. If we don't want to practice democracy, let us leave democracy alone and create our own system of government. But what is there is this. I thank former President Goodluck Jonathan. I thank the Nobel laureate, Professor Soyinka, for saying the truth. And the truth. And thank God, the PDP governors have dragged Nigerian government to the Supreme Court for interpretation of Section 305. And I love that. Let us see and let it be a precedent, although there is a precedent, but they all know what the section says. It's just politics.
Okay, let me ask please, like the president said, the Constitution section 305 actually sides with what he said, which he says two-thirds and of the House can actually move, the Assembly can move that. And of course, we know that Tambuwal actually came out to say that they did not, for a fact, get a third of the Assembly to even make that vote. So whatever he did was actually wrong. So what's your thoughts about this?
I love something that President Goodluck Jonathan said. I mean, I laughed and laughed and laughed because there's a kind of a comical side to it. But it is the truth. It's saying if somebody is sleeping and you want to wake him up, if you tap him, he doesn't wake up. Tap him a little harder. Eventually he will wake up. If he doesn't wake up with a little tap, slap him. He will jump up and say, what is it now? If somebody is pretending to sleep, you can't wake him up.
You can't wake that person up.
It's impossible. If you like, knock him with stick on his head. Because he is pretending and he knows he's pretending.
Yeah,
there's nothing you do to him, he will not respond because he must prove that he's sleeping. And that is exactly what it is. It was such an act. Just like Mr. Adebero said, there's none of the players, the actors, in this situation that doesn't know the truth. But we're pretending to be asleep. Look, something that is written in black and white, that is very clear. The circumstances are clear. There is no ambiguity in the word of the Constitution. There is no need for interpretation. I heard that man. I know the man you are referring to. That's man.
That short man.
Because he was now referring to the Interpretation Act. To interpret something that was clearly written in black and white. Section 188 is abundantly clear about the only ways the governor can be removed. The only ways. Resignation, death, impeachment, and medical incapacities. Just 4. There's no other one. When you start reaching, you see there's something they call overreach. You will look inside this corner. You will look inside this corner to look for what is not lost. Then you should know that you are lost. If we're looking for justification for the removal of a governor when this constitution did not say you can remove a governor, there is no way you will not be going into different sections of the constitution today. They said section 1, subsection 5 gives the president powers to rule the country. Powers to rule the country. Powers to prevent breakdown of law and order. That under the powers to prevent breakdown of law and order, you will now remove somebody that was elected by Nigerians.
The same way you were elected.
How does it make sense Help me make it. How can somebody who went to law school, who practiced for many years after call to bar, who took cases to Supreme Court and argued them successfully, because those are the conditions for you to become SAN. And then you now gain this SAN and you take what is obvious and clear, you turn it upside down because you don't want to say the truth, because you are pretending to be asleep. I love what the president said. Oga, our daddy, Soyinka, Ekabosa, finally can hear some truths from him, because everybody knows that the president is his friend. And even when he was condemning this action, he condemned it. But you see the restraints. He used a lot of, in fact, you could see he was struggling. It is as if what he knows to be the truth and what he stands for and what he would rather do, they were fighting each other in plain sight. I could see the conflict in his demeanor. I could see that he was struggling not to condemn the president, but he had no choice because of his convictions and because of his past public statements. I am a bit disappointed at that, because this same man, when he was going to criticize Jonathan, oh my God, there's no word he don't use. He called his wife hippopotamus. He called the past president's wife hippopotamus. How can you, having been so caustic, been so brash with your criticism of one president, all of a sudden you say, I don't normally criticize until after 1 year. It's not true, sir. You criticize well before 1 year in the past. And now, well, you can see that what has happened is a bit, is not really quite lawful. Excuse me. Say the thing as it is. So for me, I will say to Daddy Soyinka is our daddy. The night is looking fantastic and fresh. He should say the truth more, because his time on earth, the time he has spent on earth now, is far more than the time he's going to spend. We are not God. We don't know when anybody is. But clearly, he should be more concerned about legacy now. He should say the truth with conviction and with clarity, so that his friend, you see, I always say something. If your friend cannot tell you the truth, you don't have a friend.
Yes.
My friends know me. If you are doing something that is not right, the only thing is, I will to you in the back. I will call you as Oga. This thing you are doing is wrong. In the public, I will also say it to the public, but I may choose my words a bit more carefully. But I will criticize you because I'm your friend, so that you know you are going wrong. So I love what President Jonathan did. The man has my eternal respect because of the way he has conducted himself after ruling the country badly. I will not forget he ruled the country badly. But you see that singular action of conceding defeat, and then the things he has done after, he has become a statesman indeed. And I respect him. Soyinka, please, we need more from you, because you are a voice and you are light.
True. Thank you very much for that. I have a
and we need to let me clear this.
Okay.
For those our viewers, what we are saying, for us, we are not politicians. Let me personalize this. I'm not a politician. I don't want to be one, and I don't want to be one. It is not about Fubara. It is not about Wike. Exactly. It is not about River State. It's about the rule of law. Exactly. I still have one mark at the back of my head. I had it during the time of June 12. So what it means is that I know what I suffered for. Even that time of June 12. When Abiola was fighting, I know what happened as a reporter. So automatically, I'm a stakeholder in the case of Nigeria. So anything that is against the rule of law, because I know what military did to us. So when we now have democracy, we must follow the rule of law, because that is what we have sworn to uphold. So it is about the rule of law. It's not about all these politicians, because to me, all politicians, they are all the same. But the rule of law will remain this. It will remain the same. It's the guiding principle. It's our root. It's our guiding angel. The way Bible is to Christian, the way Quran is to Muslim, that is the way Constitution of this country is to Nigerians.
Okay, let's hear from our viewers. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for calling. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from.
Okay, what's your name, sir? Okay, sir, please go ahead.
Yes. Thank you for this and for the analyst discount. The man is right. Actually, is very yes. I can have a school, but now, yeah, which is
Hello, sir. Hello, you have to call back. The network is quite bad. We can barely get you. What you're saying. Please call back.
Are you hearing now?
Yes, we can hear you now. Yes.
Okay. And Nobel actually came and said to, I'm very happy.
Oh, you have to call back. Apologies. You have to call back. It's still the same thing. Thank you. All right, so we have some messages as regards to what we're discussing. This one says APC is looking for funds for 2027 elections, and if Fubara rather is in place, they will not see any fund from the governor. This is Simon from Lagos. Another one says, "Good afternoon." Ooh, this is a long one. Okay, let me pick this call first before I read this. Hello, good afternoon. Please reduce your TV set. All right. Please, yeah, okay. So what's your name? I'm calling from.
I'm Mrs. Abidoye. I'm calling from Abidoye.
Okay, ma'am, please go ahead, but reduce your TV set, please. Hello. Oh. Okay, all right. Let me just read the message. This one says, "Good afternoon, crew. In the absence of the rule of law, impunity and chaos abounds for the state of emergency of Rivers. Your president didn't do it in the north, where bandits and Boko Haram are having their way, but he decided to declare it in a peaceful state. In NSAS time, there was no state of emergency in any part of the country. Then you can see this is scripted. Even the Senate that was voted for, you can see while Wike and his Tinubu have similar character traits. They want to take it and run away with it. He said, "How would there be peace without justice? It's a shame that the worst of us is ruling the best of us. Truly, the worst of the country." This is Dio from Dio from Lagos State. That is always his slogan. Truly, the worst of the country. Okay, so let's pick this call and hear out. Hello, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Okay, yes, ma'am. What's your name and where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Abidoye. I'm Mrs. Abidoye.
I'm Mrs. Abidoye. Okay, please go ahead. We're listening, ma'am.
Please, my opinion is, I just want to ask a question from our people that are here defending somebody or the other.
Okay.
My question is that can they explain to me what is different between suspension and removal?
Okay.
That's what I want to do, so that I'm able to understand all what they have been saying since the section of the program.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you very much, ma'am. Thank you so much. Yes, please go ahead.
Whether you call it suspension, whether you call it a removal, madam,
it is not
fundamental reality is that the constitution does not allow either one. Whether the president suspended the governor or removed the governor, there is none
in the
that is allowed in the constitution. And it's as simple as that. We don't need to mince words. Now, let me ask madam a counter question. Is Fubara the governor of Rivers State today? Is he still in office? If he's a suspended governor, is he in office? Is he acting? If he's a removed governor, is he in office? Is he acting? Right now, there's somebody in government house called a sole administrator. That's the governor of Rivers State, whether you like it or not. So, for me, the semantics don't matter. Whether you call it suspension or removal, the reality is that neither of those two is in the law. And like Mr. Degbero said, I want to echo that very strongly. I am not a defender of Fubara. In my opinion, Fubara and Wike are one and the same. They are fighting. This fight is not about the people of Rivers State. It's about access to the treasury and the loot. However, the law must be obeyed. Because if you don't obey the law, we are in a jungle. And neither you nor I will survive it. So that's why we fight for the rule of law, for constitutional order. So what the constitution does not allow, we must not support it, so that we don't defend evil.
In addition, madam, if possible, you are a student in a school and you are a class captain in SS3 class, and somebody is a class captain in GSS3 class. For the fact that you are both prefects or you are both class captain, can you that you are in SS3 as a class captain, Can you remove the class captain in GSS3? You can't. Or suspend. What we are just saying is this. Constitution did not state that the president has the power to suspend. President cannot even suspend a commissioner in a state. Exactly. He can only suspend those people he appointed in his own echelon of presidency. He cannot even remove a commissioner because it's about the law. So that is the thing. There is no law in the constitution from chapter 1 in all the schedules of the constitution that said the president can remove, can suspend, can do anything to the governor. It is not stated there.
Okay, now just because I want to make the people understand better, if I pick the calls that are coming in, I'm just going to read a bit of the Constitution at the section 305. That Tinubu, that's the president, decided to use to back up his claim of the state of emergency. Well, according to the Constitution, it says that subject to the provision of the Constitution, the president may by instruments published in the official gazette of the government of the Federation issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in the Federation if any parts thereof. And of course, the president shall immediately after the publication, okay, I think that's not so necessary. But he said he has the power to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency only when A, the Federation is at war, the Federation is in imminent danger or invasion or involvement in a state of war, when there's an actual breakdown of public order and public safety, extraordinary measurements to restore peace and order must be taken. D, there is a clear and present danger of an actual breakdown of public order and public safety in the Federation. E, there is an occurrence of, basically all it's stating is there is a danger or there is
breakdown of public law.
or public law and order. So basically that is the Constitution and the section 305 of the Constitution whereby Tinubu said he's backing his claim off, which I think the explanation should come from there. So maybe you should do the explanation of that section.
So let me make it clear that section is clear, right? And if you look at the situation in Rivers State, you may, if you want to be a bit economical with the truth, you can say, oh, the place is tending towards disorder, tending towards chaos, tending towards fight and all that, because of what Wike and Fubara's camps are doing. But Rivers State, as we speak till today, is peaceful.
Not even a life.
Nothing. So now there's none of those conditions in that section that was met. However, you can argue, somebody can argue that, well, should we wait until they start killing themselves that we can see they're already threatening? So I have not really based my position on whether the president can declare state of emergency or not. Is subject to a bit of perspective. Some of the supporters of the president will tell you he had to act, otherwise things would have gone worse. I don't agree with them, but they are entitled to their opinion and I will not debate it too much. My problem is not the declaration of state of emergency, even though I don't agree with it. My problem is removal, suspension, elopement, whatever you want to call it, of a elected public official by another elected public official, where the Constitution does not expressly grant the remover the power to do so. Please, let's understand the fundamental problem here. The people of Nigeria, the people of Britain in this question now, voted and decided in a democracy. This is who we want to lead us. Sorry, by the letter and the spirit of the Constitution, the only people that can reverse that decision are those people themselves. By the House of Assembly that is acting on their behalf. Nobody else. Otherwise, we're not a democracy again. Please, let's get it. So the people that are arguing about extraordinary powers, there's a section you read in that 305 where it says extraordinary measures can be used by the president to restore order. And people are now interpreting that to mean including removing a governor. You will see the contradiction. Once you do that, we're no longer a democracy. As long as we say we're a democracy, only the people have power of franchise, the right to give a mandate and the right to take it back. Nobody else does. That is my own problem, not the declaration itself. Even though I don't agree with it, you can still debate that a bit. What is not debatable is the power to remove
To suspend a governor or House of Assembly member. It's not
debatable. It doesn't exist anywhere.
Going forward with this, it was even stated that the president shall not issue a proclamation of a state of emergency in any case to which the provision of subsection 4 of the section applies, unless the governor of state fails within a reasonable time to make a request to the president. And the subsection 4 states that the governor of a state may, with the sanction of a resolution supported by 2/3 majority of the House of Assembly, request the president to issue a proclamation of a state of emergency.
If his power cannot, but it won't still be removed.
Where there is in existence within the state any of the situations specified in subsection 3C, 3D, 3E, which is of course the dangers of this section, and such situation does not extend beyond the boundaries of the state. So,
Blossom. Look, when you do a foundation of what is wrong, by the time you are molding block on that foundation, you are going to be molding what. Look at what happened. Head of service in Rivers State has resigned. Sole administrator is now appointing SSG. We are state.
It's illegal now.
We are those. We are a sole administrator. Somebody that was not ever elected. Now appointing secretary to state government. You see how we have put our own democracy in another. I'm very sure this democracy we are practicing in Nigeria is not the one of US. It's not the one of UK. In fact, our own it's not even the name of. It's not democracy.
It's Nigeria. It's Nigeriocracy.
So maybe we should just create a name for, because our own, it doesn't fall under. That's what we call Nigerian government and politics. Our own system of government does not fall anywhere. It has never been practiced in the history of Nigeria. So it's so sad. So when some of us are talking, we understand what military did to us. We don't know. Maybe our politicians now, they are missing the military men. That is why they are now putting so administration. He's now appointing secretary of a state government. Okay. That one is now saying, and they now release allocation that they were seized, that the court said they should seize. They are now releasing it. When the Supreme Court did not say anything about the way to release, they now release the fund. No, okay. It's abracadabra system of government.
Okay, so let me read. Okay, let's pick some calls because of our time. Hello, good afternoon. Yeah. Can you be more audible, please, sir? Okay, sir. So, what's your name and where you calling from? Okay, sir. Go ahead, sir.
I really appreciate you advertising this. Now, because the president and the declared state of emergency, before doing that, you are supposed to result a national assembly. Even though you are to declare, but here the other startup, they are to ratify. So, God is supposed to ratify this. Can you get report or can you calculate report from point to? And it's something that people who are ahead of you are looking at that will try to think of. So, can you get their game? Can you account for report by point route? And it's now computed by point to try to be counted. That is it. Now, the data is still emergency. There's no problem. For sustaining, that is the line that you on the line. It should be that you should take it from you cannot suspend. You can only declare a state of emergency on a particular issue, whether on health, whether on other things, in this case, on security. Now, if you can declare on security, you are going to carry it. Not what you are just declaring on your own.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, so I think that was made clear already for what he said. He said he does not even mind the state of emergency, but the fact where he has a problem with should be underlined is the fact where the governor was suspended. Anyway, let me read one message. It's one messages actually. In fact, those gentlemen, especially the man in the car, has said it all. Unless we begin to tell ourselves the truth, no way for us to move forward. So your guests today are very straightforward. from Ozzy Shuaib. Thank you so much, Ozzy, for that one. And we have another one. So says, please, did the law allow a governor to run a government with only 4 legislators out of 30 or 31?
No, that is a very good question. Listen, because politicians, the way they will paint the picture for you, they are liars. Oh, all these politicians that you are seeing, this is what happened. 27 members on national television declared that they are leaving their current party to another party. They even went to Abuja High Court to offer themselves for an affidavit to that particular effect. And in the law, governor can move. Chairman of a local government can move for another party, even when he's still a chairman. But lawmakers, House of Assembly member, National Assembly member cannot decamp from the party that sponsored them there. Immediately you do that, the constitution said you have lost your seat. That is exactly what Fubara now based on, that these people have lost their seat. He now went to court. The state high court in Rivers State now said that they have lost their seat. Although they went to court of appeal to appeal it. So those ones that did not leave, they are the 4 that remain. So far, it is not Fubara that said those 4 should remain, is the court. Although the 27 lawmakers later went to court of appeal. So it is not that it's presenting it only to 4. It is those ones that are eligible by the court. So, and that's the thing. Then 2, by 4, they did not form quorum. We need to state down clear. They did not form quorum because there must be a quorum. 2/3 of the house must be on ground before such kind of magnitude of presenting of budget is wrong. But another thing that we have to look is our law. Why did you have to have the same case at the state high court, federal high court, court of appeal, Supreme Court, the same court, the same case? Then 2, how can Supreme Court give a judgment on a case that was not before it? Because the case of the 27 is still in the high court. I think the judge in charge have said by next month is going to give judgment, maybe by 16th of next month. The one that is not in the front of Supreme Court is what Supreme Court give judgment. When the case, somebody did not come to you that is headache. By then you want to say this person that have headache, go and treat the person.
Okay.
So, and that is the thing. By law, they did not form quorum. Those 4 did not form quorum. So Governor Fubara was asked fault in that. But at the same time, it was the court that allowed only those 4 lawmakers.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much, Anirudin, for that one. Okay, we have a message from Dominic Esuridiri Ojuelega. He says the state of emergency is illegal. Why did Buhari not issue state of emergency in Lagos during the NSAS? Another one says, afternoon crew, you can see that this government does not really value the rule of law since they came into power. They have turned this country to a gangster paradise by compromising all institutions for 2027 gain, especially cash and carry judiciary. You can see the frivolous judgments of Rivers, Osun, Kano, and Lagos states, etc. This is impunity and chaos. This is impunity and chaos looming. How would there be peace without justice? It is. Again, it is a shame that it wasn't really investigated. Truly, there was a country. Anyway, there is a question, and this is as regards the allocation of funds, and we all know that Peter Obi actually reacted to that, and that's the Rivers Funds allocation. He stated that on Monday, and he condemned the alleged disobedience of the Supreme Court ruling regarding the release of statutory allocation to an absent sole administrator instead of a duly constituted legal body. He expressed concern over the decision to release state funds despite standing order from the Supreme Court, which had barred the Central Bank of Nigeria and the Accountant General of the Federation from disbursing these allocations until a legally recognized House of Assembly passes an Appropriation Act. So there's a question from Simon and Lagos stating that what is the reason why the Central Bank would release the state fund the APC needs? Okay, according to him, he said, ask yourself a question. Why did Central Bank release the state fund the APC needs Rivers State Fund for 2027 election? And this is Simon from Lagos. So the question is, why did they go ahead and release the fund despite the Supreme Court's ruling?
This is a part of what we're saying. Supreme Court, although withholding the fund of Rivers State, there is a precedent of a court judgment that said nobody can withhold. the funds. When you withhold such fund, what happens is that you are broken that particular state. But fine, it's coming from Supreme Court. Fine, you hold the money. Is the Supreme Court now said, okay, now release the money? Oh, the Supreme Court has not said that. Why did you have to release the money to undemocratic person? You that you use your power to appoint a sole administrator, you will have found the sole administrator. You now release the money. Look, whether they like it or not, I'm talking about constitution. No. Till 2037, Fubara is still the governor of that state. When he come back after 6 months or within 6 months, we want to see what the interpretation the Supreme Court will do. He has the right to audit the money that the sole administrator has spent and bring him to justice if he has spent the money illegally. That's one thing. Then another thing again is that it shows that this government is speaking the law they want to follow and they want to obey, because it affronts on the rule of law. When the Supreme Court said don't release money, immediately the sole administrator was appointed. They now release money. Does that mean the federal government want to use the funds of River State to do anything that we don't want? It's a very big question.
Which is the question he was asking.
Well, for me, it's quite ironic, and as many things that this particular president has been doing is ironic. They are contradictory. A lot of the things that he has done, both in this matter and in many other situations before this matter, have contradicted his previous positions and where he has found himself in history. Is this not the president who was governor in Lagos when President Obasanjo withheld allocations because they formed local governments, and then he took them to court? The credit he is being given today by supporters about IGR started that. That was what provoked him to then say, look, I must ramp up, I must find another way. And then he, went into this IGR thing. And now the same president is doing exactly the same thing that somebody did to him that he opposed just a few 20 years ago. It's quite strange. We have to ask ourselves why. Why do our political actors seem to reverse their position repeatedly when they get into power? For example, this is the same president who spoke and preached about devolution of powers and fiscal federalism before he became president. Talked about true federalism. In fact, one of the reasons they refused to participate in the 2014 National Conference was on this basis. They said, no, that what we need is a sovereign national conference. They are not participating in that thing that is a charade. And here we now have the same man who took that position 2 years into office. Nothing about true federalism, not about fiscal federalism.
If I even breaking the complex,
doing the exact same things that were done to him. My position on that is very simple. As long as we say we are a federal system, look, first of all, that's why I say we need to reverse the direction of flow of resources. The truth of the matter is that the states are the owners of the resources that the federal government is using today.
Yes.
What should happen is that the state should harvest its resources, take the money, and pay a small part to the federal government. That's what we should be doing. Now, where you are not doing that and you reverse it, okay, no problem. That's the constitution. We're still a federalism. These allocations are first-line charges. They are not under the power and control of anybody.
Yes.
Do you understand? The federal government does not have any law that allows it to withhold any money. They are not the headmaster.
Yes.
They are not headmaster in a school. The president is not the boss of a governor.
Yes. It's not.
He is not his boss. He is an elected official reporting to Nigerians. The governor is an elected official reporting to his people of his state.
Yes.
The president does have very, very little power to control what happens at the state level because it's a federation.
Yes.
So the president does not have the right or the power to hold money as if you are trying to punish somebody. In fact, I dare say that the Supreme Court ruling is a desecration of the principle of federalism.
Yes.
They don't have the right to declare that one person should withhold more money. No. Rule that the right thing should be done. Not that you will now, as if a punitive measure, until you do this, we withhold your money. Who gave them that right? So for me, we really need to understand what are we a federation or not? Are we a monarchy or not? What are we practicing precisely in this country? We need to ask ourselves that.
Then, in addition, before we leave, that people must know there is a Federal Executive Council Do you know that if I'm a governor of Ogun State, I may decide not to go to Federal Executive Council for 4 years and nothing will happen to me?
Okay, all right. We just have let's start to wrap up the program. Well, it's been fun. Thank you, all my callers who have been calling, and for those who sent text messages, thank you so much. We really appreciate you for being part of the program. And of course, if you've missed this, you can go to our YouTube channel to be up there for you to watch. And of course, you can go to the comment section and air your views too. Thank you so much for being in the program.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Sasha, for being in the program. I also want to thank myself for holding the phone too.
Thank you.
So in fun, I'll see you tomorrow. Of course, tomorrow is different. We'll be talking about relationship and what's trending on social media. Until I come your way again, my name is Blessing. Have a beautiful day for yourself.